The day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, it's time for part 2 of the Great America lawsuit story. In part 1, I shared the plaintiff's version of events. Today, I'm going to share the defendant's answers to the plaintiff. And folks, you can find this lawsuit out there. It's in the Iowa District Court for Lynn County. It's case number LACV 105815. The plaintiff is David Pohlman, and the defendant is Great America Financial Services Corporation, Martin and Anton Golobic. Folks, I've made an opinion of this case. And it's not in favor of Great America and its ownership. It's in favor of the plaintiff. When I read the plaintiff's version of events, when I read the defendant's answer to the plaintiff, numerous times, I've concluded this: that Great America and its ownership completely mismanaged the termination of David Pohlman. Folks, they completely mismanaged it. If they wanted their president to exit from the company, there are so many ways they could have done that without destroying the individual. So many ways they could have done it. And I believe that they chose a completely obnoxious way to do it. And I believe that David, the plaintiff, had every right to file this lawsuit, and I also believe that he'll prevail in the lawsuit if it goes to trial. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I believe Great America completely mismanaged the termination of their president. Before I get started in the defendant's answers, I want to share some more thoughts on that. Great America seems to have gone to great lengths to protect the transition of leadership as the founder installs his son to take the helm. The co-CEO lasted less than 6 months. After the new CEO, the founder's son, took the role, there has been an exodus of senior leaders. Great America denied nearly all plaintiff's claims regarding his perceived contribution. I found this interesting. When the defendants answered the plaintiff, anytime the plaintiff brought up their value that they gave to the company, well, the defendants, Great America, would kind of, diminish that. It's almost like they're trying to create a thought process that David brought no value to the company. I just find that interesting. Great America either has selective knowledges of pieces of a conversation or factual knowledges of the entire conversation. How the hell do they have both? I mean, folks. In the plaintiff's version of events, he talked about a conversation. That conversation has a lot to do with this case. But when the defendants answer the plaintiff regarding that conversation, well, they have knowledge of the conversation that they weren't at, if it benefits the defendants. But the conversation that they weren't at, if it benefits the plaintiff, they have no knowledge of it. I found that to be very interesting. Great America founder sent email, and anyone who would read it would question David's loyalty. That email has a big part of this case. When I reread that email over and over, I think to myself, what the hell? And it really, really solidifies my thinking that Great America completely mismanaged the termination of their president. Great America terminated a 20-plus year very senior leader through a process akin to a perp walk for a criminal. That's what I envisioned as I read this. You're escorted out of the building with security. Here's your coat. Here's your backpack. No, you can't go through your desk. Get the hell out of here. Craziness. Great America denied the plaintiff's emotional state as if Great America were psychologists. Again, selective knowledge, right? Great America. Do you really understand the mindset of a senior leader that was passionate about Great America, that gave his all to Great America, that helped Great America grow tremendously, and got terminated the way that David got terminated? You deny their emotional state of mind? Good luck with the jury on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been in the industry long enough, especially here in the United States, you've been to the Great America facility there in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Could you imagine looking through the glass window of the conference room and seeing that new CEO pointing his finger at David, you're fired, get out of here. Not allowing David, the organization's president, to clean out his personal items from his desk defines an abrupt termination. An abrupt termination. Again, one that I believe was absolutely, completely mismanaged. Let's talk about some of the defendant's answers to the plaintiff. Again, I can't go through all of them, ladies and gentlemen. The show would be too long. David's previous experience and success in this space with the largest dealers in the market, strategic vision, and his oversight of the execution on that vision transformed GreatAmerica into a dominant player in the office equipment industry. Here's the defendant's answers. The allegations contained in paragraph 20 are ambiguous, non-specific, and irrelevant to any issue in this case, and defendants therefore deny the same. When I read that, I'm just thinking to myself, is GreatAmerica, are they planning on just completely devaluing David's contribution to a jury? Is that what they're going to do? Because if they're going to do that, good luck. When David joined GreatAmerica in 2003, the company had total assets of less than $400 million. We know that leasing companies determine their size by the value of the assets they have under management. And when David joined in 2003, he's saying that they had assets under management of less than $400 million. GreatAmerica's answer, the defendants, denied that. In red, I put, it seems like GreatAmerica's rewriting history, again, to diminish David's value. And the reason I say that is because I went and I did some research and I found this article that was written in Leasing News magazine. It was in 2003. Since its modest beginning 11 years ago, they now have $500 million in assets under management. They're all excited about it at GreatAmerica. Let's do a press release. It's 2003. We got $500 million in assets under management. David started in June of 2003. Was David off a little bit? What, they have $450 million in assets under management? $500 million in assets under management? Here's what I would argue in David's favor. Without David's leadership, it took GreatAmerica 11 years to reach $500 million in assets under management. They started in 92. This press release was in 2003. They're all excited and they're bragging about how they just hit $500 million in assets under management. David started in 2003. Under David's leadership, under David being part of senior leadership, GreatAmerica grew to over $2 billion in assets the first 14 years David was there. So they went from $500 million in assets under the old guard, right? It took the old guard 11 years to get there. They hired David. David has really senior roles the whole time. And 14 years later, they're crossing the $2 billion in assets under management. Folks, there's all kinds of press releases out there. In 2009, GreatAmerica Leasing surpassed $1 billion in assets. So from 1992 to 2009, it's 17 years it took them to get to $1 billion. David was there for some of that time. But boy, things must have been going really, really good at GreatAmerica since 2009, since 2003. In 2011, the company purchased that fancy building there in Cedar Rapids. In 2017, GreatAmerica announced they surpassed the $2 billion mark. It only took 8 years from the time they passed the billion mark. Think about it. It took GreatAmerica 17 years to get to $1 billion in assets under management. It only took 8 to go from $1 billion to 2. I think David, the plaintiff, contributed a whole lot to GreatAmerica. A whole lot. Folks, I brought up the article that was written in the Quarter Business Journal where the founder of GreatAmerica was talking about how wonderful things are at GreatAmerica. Where the founder was talking about how he was going to have a co-CEO with his son. They were going to have a generational change in leadership. But everything's going great. We've had tremendous growth and success. And now it seems they want to diminish one of the key leaders in that success. When I read that Quarter Business Journal, they also mentioned the revenue of GreatAmerica. And in May of 2023, when that article was published, they said the 2022 revenue for GreatAmerica was $278 million. Excuse me. Well, if you apply some math to that, and you figure out what the revenue was when David started in 2003, when they had $500 million worth of assets under management, it's about 10%. So I'm thinking they were about a $50 million business when David started. When what I believe they did completely mismanaged the termination of David, they were about $300 million. I think David contributed a whole lot to GreatAmerica. You can do your own math. GreatAmerica share the reality. But I think they're going to have a hard time convincing a jury that David did not contribute to that company. David and his team's efforts were recognized multiple times, including the prestigious Canada Report Readership Award for Best Leasing Company Provider in the Office Equipment Industry, which GreatAmerica won 12 out of the last 13 years of David's employment. The answer the defendants gave to that allegation contained in paragraph 23 are ambiguous, nonspecific, and irrelevant to any issue in this case, and the defendants therefore deny the same. I agree with GreatAmerica on this one. That Canada Report, Best Leasing Company, for 12 of the last 13 years is completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. And I'll say to David, and I'll say to anybody else that believes these crazy awards our industry gives are based in merit, are based in any kind of real value, should really think that. But folks, at the end of the day, the Canada Report, over the past few years, GreatAmerica founder and chief executive officer Tony Golobic established and executed a plan for his son Martin Golobic to replace him as the company's chief executive officer. They admitted that the leadership transition to Martin Golobic marked a period of decline in thoughtful leadership and decision making. They denied that. I add this. Was a fear of reprisal a key factor in any decline in thought leadership? So if there was a decline in thought leadership and they're not aware of it, was it because those leaders didn't want to say anything? Because they thought they would get run out of the building and terminated? They might get an email from the founder that was depressing as hell and talking about their loyalty? Just asking the question. Why did the co-CEO exist? Through founder's own words, in the Cedar Quarter Business Journal, May of 2023, his plan was to have a co-CEO by his son. Why did the founder believe that he needed to have that co-CEO? And then what changed over those few months that the co-CEO left the building? Martin's significantly younger and less experienced than Tony, and the prior senior leadership team at GreatAmerica had never led an organization of GreatAmerica's scale. Defendants admit Martin Globic's younger and less experienced, but defendants deny the remaining of allegations in 20. Well, what are they denying? Did Martin actually lead a company the size and scale of GreatAmerica, or did he not? On the evening of January 31, 2024, amidst growing concerns about Martin's leadership, David participated in a conversation initiated by Matt, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, into the potential need to explore other options if the situation at GreatAmerica did not improve. Defendants admit plaintiff engaged in a discussion with Matt and Scott on January 31 of 2024, where plaintiff proposed leaving GreatAmerica Financial Services Corporation to form a competing company. Defendants denied the remaining allegations in paragraph 30. How do they know what the conversation was about? That's my... was it through a third party? It seems that GreatAmerica is agreeing to the claim of a meeting by default would violate the senior leader's frustrations in Martin's leadership, right? So previous paragraph, they think Martin, there's no problem at all in Martin's leadership. Nobody's upset at all about it. We deny that. But yet, They admit that there was a conversation where people are concerned about Martin's leadership. During the discussion, Matt told David, "I'm worried it's not going to get better. And if it doesn't, we should think about doing something on our own." The defendant's answers, they deny paragraph 31 for lack of knowledge or information. You see what I'm saying? What do you mean they lack knowledge? They lack knowledge because it was Matt that said that maybe we should do something on our own, not David saying it, because they're thinking David said something, right? That's what they heard before. I'm telling you, you got to read through this. It's complicated shit, but you got to do it. After a few minutes, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Scott joined the conversation. Question for GA, was David set up by one of the participants in that conversation? That's a question I'm asking. Just was he set up? How do you know what happened in that conversation? The brief conversation was purely hypothetical and born out of frustration with Martin's leadership approach. The defendants say they deny that. Without the knowledge, how the hell does GreatAmerica know? I mean, come on, you can't have it both ways, GreatAmerica. You either know about the conversation or you don't know about the conversation. You know about the conversation where David was going to form and be a competitor to you, but then when it's talking about, well, Matt's the one that was saying maybe we should do something on our own, well, you don't have any information on that. In subsequent text message, David made it clear his commitment to GreatAmerica and his intent to take steps to improve the leadership dynamic. They deny that. The defendants deny that. Has GreatAmerica determined David is lying about text messages? I'm sure the jury will love to see those text messages. In a subsequent text message, David made it clear his commitment to GreatAmerica and his intent to take steps to make things better. I want to say this again. It seems like GreatAmerica has knowledge of attendees, select knowledge of conversation, which benefits their defense. However, regarding David's claims of conversation, GreatAmerica claims ignorance to the content or context. A case of selective knowledge. Martin walked out of the room and representatives from Human Resource and Legal walked in. Denied. The defendants deny that. Is Martin calling David a liar, or did he not look to see who came in the room after he left? Right? That seems like a pretty simple thing. You're in the room. Obviously you didn't leave him alone because you wouldn't even let him go back to his desk. So when you were walking out of the room, somebody walked in there. It wasn't legal. It wasn't Human Resources. Defendants falsely accused David of attempting to compete against the company. Defendants admit plaintiff was informed his termination was, in part, a result of his threatened breach of his non-compete obligations to GreatAmerica Financial Services Corporation. Defendants deny the remaining allegations, paragraph 36. Let's go back to claim number 31. During the discussion, Mueller told David, "I'm worried if it's not going to get better, and if it doesn't, we should think about doing something on our own." Defendants deny paragraph 31 for lack of knowledge or information. So how do they know that David was going to compete against them? What, ladies and gentlemen, you not see the stupidity in this? The mismanagement of the termination of the president? It's glaring off the pages. If GreatAmerica had no knowledge of the conversation, how did they conclude that David was going to violate his non-compete? Hang on a second. It seems, according to GreatAmerica, one can violate their non-compete by thinking about it. Or if a GreatAmerica, through a third party, has told someone is thinking about violating their non-compete, GreatAmerica will consider this a violation of non-compete. Is GreatAmerica policing people's thoughts to terminate highly paid senior leaders? Folks, how did he violate a non-compete? Because they don't even have knowledge of the conversation. David's version of events is that Matt brought this up. We might have to do something different. David, after they meet, he sends a text message, recommits his loyalty to GreatAmerica. Hey, you know what? Let's calm down, basically. And now GreatAmerica say, no, David's the one that wanted to compete against him. Selective knowledge at best. Why didn't GreatAmerica file a lawsuit against David, their president, for violating the non-compete at the same time they fired him? David was more than an employee. He was their president. Did GreatAmerica not have the evidence? Was their understanding of the meeting translated by a third party who was not in attendance? Did GreatAmerica decide on creating a scenario which benefited them to terminate an older leader, making way for founder's son to go unchallenged? These are my questions, ladies and gentlemen. If you got a president of the company that's getting together with senior leaders to do a coup on you and start a company to compete against you, you should sue the shit out of him. Right? But you didn't have knowledge of that conversation. You didn't have all the knowledge of the conversation. You only had the knowledge which benefited you, the defendants. Defendants never discussed the January 31 conversation with David prior to firing him. They admitted that. Doesn't this admission play into the decline in thought leadership? Seriously. They didn't have any conversations with David about that conversation until the day that they fired him, which was a few weeks later. No conversations. So I'm asking the question, doesn't them admitting they had no conversations play into the decline in thought leadership, especially critical discussions? During the termination meeting, unknown subjects acting on behalf of GreatAmerica ransacked David's personal backpack, which contained both business and personal property. David was never asked to, nor did he consent to the search of his backpack. They deny that. How does GreatAmerica know that no one ransacked David's backpack? Seriously. As David was meeting with Human Resource and Legal, Tony sent the following email to GreatAmerica employees. I got to go back to claim number 41. Martin walked out of the room and representatives from Human Resources and Legal walked in. They denied that. But then they admit that as David was meeting with Human Resources and Legal, Tony sent the following email to GreatAmerica employees. Is it admission or is it a denial? Can it be both? Folks, we've seen that email. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I do want to read the second paragraph. GreatAmerica has built its reputation on deep loyalty, and loyalty is one of the core values that will always continue to define GreatAmerica. Loyalty to our employees and customers, and our employees' loyalty to GreatAmerica. We strive to uphold this value in everything we do, which is one of the things that makes GreatAmerica stand out from our competitors. As we move forward, we need to uphold the values, integrity, and direction of our organization and everything that makes us great Americans. Can you believe that a founder would send this email out after abruptly terminating their president? And that president would not get upset by this? That the great Americans, the employees that work at GreatAmerica, wouldn't be like, what the hell happened? What did David do? That when this email got spread across the community at Cedar Rapids, that people wouldn't be thinking, oh my God, what did David do? Did he steal something? I mean, it just makes you think that the person you're referencing in the email wasn't loyal. It's not even a far stretch. Tony's email not only announced David's firing, but also falsely suggested a betrayal of the company's trust. Shouldn't GreatAmerica say abrupt termination, separation, really? Because their answer to that was this. Defendants admit Tony's email announced plaintiff's separation from the company. The remainder of paragraph 46 is denied. What the hell? Okay, David didn't have a separation from the company. David was abruptly terminated from the company. About as abruptly as you can get. Was the purpose of the inflammatory language in paragraph 2? What was the purpose of it? During David's decades with GreatAmerica, the company had never sent such a slanderous company-wide email regarding the termination of an employee. And they answered the plaintiff this way. Defendants deny the email was slanderous and further deny the remaining allegations of paragraph 47. So I would ask, does GreatAmerica frequently send out termination emails that they consider non-slanderous? I am thinking a sample termination letter will become part of the disclosure when we get into the trial, right? Seriously? Tony's email was designed to and had the effect of damaging David's reputation among colleagues, industry peers, customers, and the community. The defendants, they deny that. What was the purpose of the second paragraph? That second paragraph needs to be frickin' defined, right? Tony's email cast unwarranted aspirations on David's character and integrity. Well, they deny that. Defendants deny paragraph 50 for lack of knowledge or information. Tony's emails spread so rapidly that David's wife and daughter learned of the termination before David was even out of the termination meeting. And they deny that for lack of knowledge? Did GreatAmerica know the timing of Tony's email? Come on. As soon as that email went out, you know it went all over the place, right? Seriously. David never engaged in disloyal conduct or any conduct that reasonably could be viewed to impugn his character integrity. They deny that. How long did GreatAmerica employee David? Well, they questioned his character and integrity. How long was he working there when they questioned his character and his integrity? Because they're denying it. Defendants had David walked out of the building immediately after the termination meeting. They admit. When David reached the lobby, his coat and backpack were at the security desk. They admit. I got to go back to 41. Martin walked out of the room and representatives from Human Resource and Legal walked in. They denied it. I said, is Martin calling David a liar, or did he not look to see who came in the room after he left? Because it says here in 53, when David reached the lobby, his coat and backpack were at the security desk. Number 52, defendants had David walked out of the building immediately after the termination meeting. Lots of holes, GreatAmerica. Defendants denied David the opportunity to personally gather his belongings from his desk, and I just put a 20-year top leader. Really, are you kidding me with this crap? Why was he denied to get his belongings? Defendants' abrupt, unjustified bad faith termination of David's employment deprived him of the opportunity to earn the performance incentives contained in the 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 Performance Unit Plan award agreements the company issued to David. They denied that. What exactly are they denying there? They either had the program or they didn't. Defendants' abrupt, unjust, bad faith termination of David's employment further deprived him of phased retirement benefits offered under the Performance Unit program. They deny that. Defendants' unlawful termination of David's employment has caused a profound emotional impact. They deny that. I asked that already, right? How does GreatAmerica have knowledge of David's emotional impact caused by David? I mean, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. A senior leader, abruptly terminated, walked out of the building like a perp going through a criminal walk. In the days, weeks, and months following David's firing, many GreatAmericans reached out to thank him for his mentorship, leadership, and development support. Answer from the defendants. They deny paragraph 60 for lack of knowledge or information. I got to ask GreatAmerica and the ownership this question. If the employees at GreatAmericans are fearful of relaying concerns regarding David's abrupt termination or Tony's bizarre email causing one to question David's loyalty, do you think there might be something there where the employees are actually afraid to talk to the GreatAmerica ownership now? Has the culture at GreatAmerica changed so drastically? I believe it's changed completely. How many employees questions David's abrupt termination and asked about the loyalty reference continuously repeated in Tony's bizarre email? Did anybody at GreatAmerica ask that question of the leadership, the ownership? I imagine in Discovery there will be examples of concerns which were shared to leadership regarding David's abrupt termination and Tony's bizarre email causing one to question David's loyalty. I don't think that the team didn't notice that whatsoever, or the community. Although truly appreciated by David, unfortunately these conversations have been painful reminders of what he has lost. Again, 0 conversations with GreatAmerica employees. Defendants deny paragraph 61 for lack of knowledge or information. No employees at GreatAmerica since David left had went to Tony or Martin and expressed any kind of questions about this? Really? Defendant's unlawful termination of David's employment not only ended his over 2-decade-long tenure at GreatAmerica, but also significantly harmed his professional reputation and future career prospects. In GreatAmerica, the defendants, they denied that. Here's what I would say. Would GreatAmerica hire a fire president of a competitive leasing company where the termination included an email where loyalty was brought into the conversation? Would you do it, GreatAmerica? Seriously. You don't think that's got an impact on David's future prospects? That's probably why the lawsuit was filed. Because who would hire an ex-president of a leasing company who got fired abruptly, and that email got sent by the founder of the leasing company? This is just the latest example of a broader pattern of age discrimination within the company, as younger, less experienced leaders are favored more over seasoned professionals who are forced out of the company or put out to pasture in lower level positions. They denied there has been several senior leaders exiting the company, as I previously discussed in another episode. Look, I get it. Some of these people are going to be retiring. But it seems to me, my opinion, is that the new CEO is trying to make sure he's got no one that's going to challenge him. It's my thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, GreatAmerica, Martin and Anton Golobic had the authority to fire David. What is in question is the reason and the way. And I believe the way they did it was completely mismanaged. The reason the court will tell. But from what I read, a non-compete, they're firing someone from thinking about a non-compete, but they don't even have knowledge of the conversation unless it benefits them, and then they don't. I mean, it's the end of the day. What the hell? Did David start a company while he was working there? And if that's the case, they should have sued David. Lots of denials. However, I believe what has been admitted to brings questions to many of the denials. This will, in fact, go through the court system, ladies and gentlemen. As far as the defamation and the liable part of this case, that email, this second paragraph can't be denied by anybody. It was totally unnecessary. As a result of defendant's breach of the award agreements, plaintiff has, in the past and will in the future, suffer injuries and damages, including but not limited to loss of wages, benefits, and other emulates of employment and other foreseeable damages, such as emotional stress. They deny it. I ask, what the hell are they denying? GreatAmerica, yes. The defendants hereby demand a trial by jury on the issue so triable. And a jury will see this case. And folks, here's my closing thoughts. The GreatAmerica response regarding conversation outlined in the plaintiff's filings seemed riddled with subjective knowledge. GreatAmerica either has the complete transcript of the conversation or is creating a conversation based on subjective knowledge, which defendants believe benefits the defendants' arguments. GreatAmerica argues that their president violated a non-complete. How did the violation occur? If, as the defendants believe, is discussing leaving an organization a violation of a non-compete? The age of the plaintiff, the email from the founder, the actions of the founder's son, the new CEO, all lead me to an understanding that the defendants completely mismanaged with prejudice an abrupt termination of their president, and the plaintiff is deserving of his prayer for relief. And folks, I do believe, when this is all said and done, if it goes to trial, we, the jury, will award the damages for the plaintiff. Read through the plaintiff's versions. Read through the defendant's answers to the plaintiff. Because I really do believe the jury will value David's contribution to GreatAmerica. I am also thinking the jury will not see a violation of a non-compete. And everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there, and I'll see you all tomorrow.